Hi, this is Ghost and welcome back. And it has been a long time since I last said those words. I've been a king of pronastication of late, and I keep going. You know what? I'll do a video tomorrow. And now those couple days turned into a week, which then turned into a couple weeks, and nearly a month down the line, I finally got around to getting my arse in gear and doing another video for you guys. And I know it's a little bit late, but I'm going to talk about my impressions of the DLC and whether I actually enjoy playing it. And I'm going to start out by saying I really do enjoy it. I'm a little bit sad to see like all paid DLC at these moments. At these times, they sort of die out very quickly, and I'm kind of finding that already with this DLC, and it's such a shame because I think it is so good. The maps are excellent. I mean, there are a few faults with them all, but there's always going to be faults with any game. There's never ever is going to be flawless with everything, so you got to accept that there are going to be little errors and mistakes with things, and there are those, and I will cover these in this video. But starting out with the maps in general, I really think they were good. I was really apprehensive that they were going to be awful. I saw the sort of the footage of what we were going to get from Fort Vaux, and I'm thinking, oh, another Operation Lockers. And I know it was a very popular map in previous Battlefields, but I was never a massive fan of it. It was just a meat grinder, and you never really got anywhere or feel like you achieved anything. All you did half the time was just throw grenades at things, and 9 times out of 10 you got some kills. And I just hated that sort of the aspect of that. I didn't think there was very much sort of skill or enjoyment in playing that, and I was very worried that Fort Vaux was going to be exactly the same as that. But I have to say, because they made it non-linear and it's a big sort of circle, I think it's so much better and it's much more enjoyable to play. As well as the other infantry only map which we got is Verdun Heights. I think that is a great map as well. It brings a very different dynamic to infantry only. Like on Fort Vaux, infantry only is very close quarters. You can use shotguns, the SMGs, they dominate on that map. And then we've got then we've got Verdun Heights, which is the complete opposite of that. It's a very open map where the sort of medics and the snipers are very dominant. I'm not such a big fan of that because I hate dying to snipers, especially when you can't really react to them if you are being an idiot like me and running around aimlessly as a headless chicken with an assault player or LMG guy running around, and you just die to these snipers that you can't really see or impact the fact that they're there. The other two maps, which are Verdun, I'm getting very confused with these maps. I've played them enough now, I should really know them. Soissons and Rupture. I was really dubious about what these maps were going to be like. I was expecting them just to be awful because there were going to be too many vehicles on them, well, primarily too many tanks, and that's not the issue at all. The tanks aren't an issue on this map at all. There's so many different routes around the map and so much cover that I don't think the tanks are that impactful, and especially if you drop a couple 100 points behind, if they do have a very dominant tank force, you get this monster which I'm currently in, which is the Char 2C, which just decimates enemy armor. Enemy armor serves no purpose when the Char 2C is on the field because it will two-shot a heavy tank, which, I mean, some might say is a little strong, but it does what a behemoth is meant to do. It properly changes the tide of battle. And unlike some of the other behemoths that just die so quickly because everyone can shoot it across the map, because it's a bit smaller and you can control where its movement is a bit more and you can hide it a bit, it lasts a lot longer, and I think it's very impactful on the battlefield. And if your team pushes with you, you can take the whole map back almost instantaneously. Not sure why these guys decided that, you know what, this light car seems like a great idea to jump into when there's that massive tank to our left, which has been shooting at us. But hey, I'm not going to turn down 2 kills. Though, however, the issue I've mainly got with this map comes as I bring in this clip, which is the planes. The planes on this map, or both of these two maps, absolutely dominate. Although I said there's a lot of cover, specifically for versus tanks, the cover is not there for infantry form planes, especially on this D flag that is on Soissons. It is the size of a postage stamp, and every single bombing run, these sort of 4 or 5 clips here are all from the same streak. I just cut out some of the turns in it. But every time I come in for this run, I get a couple kills every single time. And they're just too open. I mean, this map needs to be expanded massively to the trenches that are up in the top field and down the hill a bit. There's the main point of contention on this map. I think primarily because it's the sort of closest one to the French spawn, and it's the sort of second one for the German spawn after you've captured the main building. And I would love to see them just increase the flag capture radius on it, and I think that would be a massive quality of life improvement on it. But for the most part, I think these maps are great. They're really well balanced, and even when you do have the tanks, they aren't completely dominant because there's so many hidey holes and cubby holes, and the verticality of it means that you're not always 100% dominant like you can be on some of the other maps with the tanks. Speaking about the tanks, we are in the Charmant tank, which is a lot of fun. I really wanted it to be the sort of the rival to the heavy tank, and it just isn't quite there. It's a good tank by all means, but I think it's the main issue I've got with it is it's kind of like a bathtub on springs. After you go around over a bump, you're sort of springing around for the next couple of seconds, and it makes it very difficult, like when you're running a lot, when you're trying to get an accurate shot on someone, to then pick off that person when you stop because your gun's still going up and down. So it is good. Maybe I'll get used to it if I play with it a bit more. I haven't got that much playtime with it, and I've compared to the amount of time I've got in the heavy tank. Moving on to the next sort of the big badass thing, which is the Trench Raider kit. Now, when I first started playing the DLC, I didn't actually pick up this guy for ages, and I'd killed him a few times, and I was like, he looks really, really weak. He just seems to die instantly, and yes, he will die instantly if you play sillily with him, stupidly, not thought. You don't think about what you're doing. If you think about what you're doing and you make sure you run around sensibly with it, you will rack up a lot of kills with this guy. He is very strong, especially in close quarters. Primarily, obviously, he's very strong in close quarters, but he can absolutely decimate an enemy team. I've gone on a couple sort of 20-30 kill streaks with this guy just by playing sensibly. You have to sort of think about what you're doing. You can't just sort of run around, just go, oh, I'm immortal, and run at a whole enemy line, because you just die instantly. And I do get caught out every now and again with him, thinking that I'm just going to be able to get people with the melee weapon, which doesn't have any range to it. But if you do get picked up, be sensible with him. Use the fact that you've got a health pack and use your smoke grenades to move up. It makes the world of difference, and he can be a monster. Next up, and last but not least, is the weapons. Now, I was a bit dubious. Well, there's one weapon that is just pointless, which is the MLE Extended. I do not know why they bothered putting this in the game. It does nothing. It gives you an extra 3 bullets, I think, over the standard version, which just isn't enough. It just doesn't make any difference to this thing at all, and there's no reason to pick it or use it over any of the other weapons. On top of that, the unlock for it, you have to get 75 with the kills with the land ship, which no one uses. The land ship's awful. It's not something that people are going to use and pick and play with, and you don't even get something good for rewarding yourself by playing with something that you don't want to do. It's not worth doing. Don't bother with it. Next up is sort of on the same premise of that is the Lebel 1886 sniper rifle. When it was used in First World War, it was an outdated weapon, and that seems to have transitioned very well over to Battlefield 1. It just feels outdated. It's not as good as any of the other weapons. It has the worst reload in the world, and whatever you do, do not ever try and reload K bullets into it. If you pick the Lebel sniper rifle, just use the trip mines. Do not bother with the older K bullets, because you're in for the world's worst reload system in the world. And I'm just not a big fan of it. And that sort of rings true a bit with the RSC 17, which is the medic's weapon. I like it, and it has its unique characteristic of the high damage model, but due to its slow rate of fire and the fact that you can only reload 5 bullets at a time, although you can take 6, it means that you have to go through like a 6-second reload animation if you want all 6 bullets in the chamber. It's just not particularly effective, and I think there's not a massive draw for me to that weapon. The other 3 I actually quite enjoy. The Sojourner shotgun really rewards you for being accurate with it, and you can rack up a lot of kills as long as you're very accurate, but you do have to be very accurate with it. The Ribolays, I like it, but I hate it. I like it because it's quite fun to use, but I hate it because it's not the only thing that makes it unique over the MP18 is the fact that it has a bipod, and it's only got the one variant of it, which annoys me that they've only got one variant of it. I'd have loved to have seen them given more variants, but have it so it had a unique damage sort of model of some respect, in that it didn't have a damage drop off or something along those lines that make it a bit more unique and not just another MP18 with a bipod on the front. And then the Scholschat LMG, which I think is the best one of the lot. I really enjoy it, and it is something where I look at the weapons in the class and I'm like, you know what, I could pick that, and I would have a lot of fun with that. And I think it's the one that I'd sort of pick out. I know it's not overpowered by any means, but it's something that I actually had to make a conscious choice about using. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the DLC. We are going to be seeing some more changes coming up in the CTE, thankfully, to the grenade system. They are getting rid of the regenerating grenade system they added in this. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, and I'm glad to see that being removed from the battlefield. And we are going to see some nerfs to the respective grenades, which I think is going to be a healthy change, and we shall have to see how they work out. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope to try and upload a little bit more regularly coming up, and I will try go back to maybe uploading every other day. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye for now. Bye.